Today I have the pleasure of introducing our speakers. Since 2016, Amanda Blemmel and Wendy Gauss have represented KWN on the Susan B. Anthony Women of Influence Board of Directors. Amanda has been the chair of Susan B. for several years, and Wendy has been the treasurer for several years longer. They are here today to tell us about the awards dinner and KWN's role with it. Please help me welcome Amanda and Wendy.
All right. Okay. I'm Wendy. This is Amanda, and we kind of split this up into two sections. I apologize, I have laryngitis. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, so I'm only speaking for 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to get through this. If you can't hear me, just raise your hand and I'll try to talk louder. So when we were asked to do the speech today, we decided to kind of split it up in two separate histories. I'm going to talk about Susan B. Anthony, the woman, and a little bit of history about her. So Susan Anthony was born on February 15th of 1820, and in her teens, her and her sisters decided to join the craze and add a middle initial to their names. So she adopted the letter B, and that became her middle initial. The B doesn't technically stand for anything, but it's in her name. So she became known as Susan B. Anthony. She was born into a Quaker family that was committed to social equality, and at the very young age of 17 years old, she helped collect anti-slavery petitions. So she started with her work really early on. In 1851, Susan met her lifelong friend and co-worker, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Together, Susan and Elizabeth founded and ran several organizations centered around women's rights and abolishing slavery. In 1852, Susan was elected as a delegate to the State Temperance Convention, but she was prevented from speaking at the conference because she was a woman, and she was told that women were only there to listen and learn, not speak. Susan immediately walked out of the conference, and her and Elizabeth founded the New York Women's State Temperance Society. In 1853, when Susan tried to speak at the New York State Teachers Association, it sparked a half-hour debate between the men about whether or not women were allowed to speak in public. Anthony, after finally being allowed to continue, stated to these men, "Do you not see that so long as society says a woman is incompetent to be a lawyer, a minister, or a doctor, but we have ample ability to be a teacher, that every man in this room who chooses this profession is acknowledging he has no more brains than a woman?" I think I would have liked her very much. During the Civil War, Elizabeth and Susan founded the Women's Loyal National League, and they conducted one of the largest petition drives in U.S. history at that time, collecting 400,000 signatures to abolish slavery, and this was before the internet. They started the American Equal Rights Association after the war, and they campaigned for equal rights for both women and African Americans. In 1868, they started publishing a women's rights newspaper called The Revolution. In 1869, they founded the National Women's Suffrage Association, and in 1890, this group merged with another group, and they came together to be the National American Women's Suffrage Association, and Susan was one of the key forces in that organization. In 1876, they worked with Matilda Jocelyn Gage to write a 6-volume history of women's suffrage. At this point, Susan and Elizabeth remained very close friends, but they did not work together as much, probably because Susan started taking more risks and getting arrested. In 1872, Susan was arrested in New York for violating the laws that only men were allowed to vote. And she was convicted of voting, and she was given a fine to pay, but she refused to pay the fine, and the authorities did not take further action. She never paid the fine. In 1878, she arranged for Congress to be presented with an amendment giving women the right to vote. It later became known as the Susan B. Anthony Amendment, and later it was ratified to become the 19th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States in 1920. By the 1880s, Susan was among the senior political figures in the United States, and she continued to support work for women's suffrage, giving up to 75 to 100 speeches a year to different organizations, not only nationally, but internationally as well. She was a key component in creating the International Council of World's Congress of Representative Women. While Susan was ridiculed and accused of trying to destroy the institution of marriage throughout her lifetime, public perception of her changed, finally in the 1900s. In 1900, on her 80th birthday, she was celebrated at the White House with President William McKinley, and she became the first female to be on a U.S. coin in 1979. Our world lost an amazing woman on March 13th of 1906 when she passed away at 86 years young. And now you can see why our event is called the Susan B. Anthony Awards event. This woman has done so much in our world to make women's rights at the forefront and has given all of us the rights that we have. She fought for a lot. She created and started a lot of organizations. And I'm excited that we can celebrate her.
So, fast forward to 1985, and there were a few women, we don't know exactly who wanted to establish it, but essentially there were some women who wanted to have a women's dinner. So in 1985, the first dinner was brought to be. There were 4 organizations that sponsored the event, KWN being one of them, AAUW, National Organizations of Women, also known as NOW, and Quota Club. So that was on March 11th, right here at Casa Capri. Wow. And the cost of that dinner was $10. In 1987, they developed the event a little bit more, and they decided not to just have a dinner, but to honor a woman who was giving back to the community. And the first winner of the Susan B. Anthony Award was Sonny Yelton Stanley, who was a social worker in Kenosha. In 1994, it evolved again. This time, this is when profits of the dinner then went to nonprofit organizations that were benefiting women and children. Those organizations were Women's Horizons, Kenoshans Against Sexual Assault, and Domestic Violence Project. For a number of years, those were the 3 organizations that were funded through the event. But in 2004, for the first time, then we also then expanded and then started giving scholarships to non-traditional students going back to school. So then in March 11th, 2004 was when money was starting to be funded for that, but 2005 was when we were able to award 2 $1,000 scholarships. So not until 2006, the grant program expanded more. So instead of just those 3 organizations, we expanded it to allow nonprofit organizations that benefit women and children to submit applications to hopefully get funds from the dinner. For the event in 2016, the committee decided that why not expand it even further instead of just honoring one woman? They expanded it to be able to honor not only the Susan B. Anthony Lifetime Achievement Award, but to honor 3 additional women in 3 additional categories. And that was Women to Watch Under 40, Arts and Education, Business, Government, and Nonprofit. And that is when it became Susan B. Anthony Women of Influence Awards Dinner. And then those sponsoring organizations were KWN, AAUW, and Tempo. 2021, we unfortunately were not able to have an event because of COVID. However, we were still funding, wanting to fund grants and scholarships, so we did raise money with donations, and we were still able to give away 2 $1,000 scholarships, and we were still able to give away $8,600 in grants because of the community and their gracious efforts to contribute to that. So over the years, attendance has fluctuated, but it steadily was in the 100s to 200s in the early 1900s, early 1990s, early 2000s. But in 2016, when we expanded to honoring more women, the attendance obviously expanded. So last year being our largest event yet of having 496 registered people to be held at UW Parkside's arena. So that was our largest event. So with growth means different venues. We've had it at Casa Capri, the Station, Fireside, Holiday Inn, Heritage House. In 2003 to 2016, we've had it at Parkway Chateau, Madrigrano Marina Shores, and now UWP's Arena. And then I do want to just share some fun facts. So AAUW and KWN were the founding organizations that have stayed throughout the sponsoring organizations for the event, but we've had a total of 7 other organizations who have sponsored alongside them over the years, and now, as I had mentioned, AAUW, KWN, and Tempo are the 3 organizations that sponsor the event. In total, over the years, we have given away $204,026.93 in grants. We have given away $36,000 in scholarships, and this year is our 33rd Susan B. Anthony Awards dinner. So, of course, our event is coming up on March 22nd. It will also be at UW Parkside's arena as well. And we have a couple of our winners here today. So if you'd like to stand up, we have our Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, Rebecca Mataska-Menti. Those women who are winning, receiving the Women of Influence Awards, the Women of Influence for Business and Government and Nonprofit is Nikki Denard Payne. I don't think she's here. In Arts and Education is Rebecca Stevens. And Women to Watch Under 40 is Jenna Zahen. So if you haven't been to this event, or if you have been to this event, you know that this is the event to be at. We've had almost 500 people last year. It's a huge honor to be able to give back to the women who gave back to our community. It gives me all the good feels. I've been on the committee since, 2013 I had 1 year, and then I took a little break for school, and then 2016 on. And it is just an honor to be able to stand beside some of these women that are just amazing. So I know I mentioned those that are receiving the awards this year, but if you are in this room and have won an award of any of these statures, could you please stand? So again, this event is amazing. It has grown over the years, all because of one woman and then a community of women who Susan B. All because of one woman, but it's all because of the women in this room and a community coming together to make sure that we're giving back to women and children. So, any questions?
I have a question. Where do I get tickets?
Well, you can, so tickets for the event on March 22nd, you can go onto the Kenosha Women's Network website, and you can print it off there, or you can go to eventbrite.com and search Susan B. Anthony Awards, and it'll pop up. You can buy tickets there. You can sponsor the event, and you can also place ads. So any of those would be wonderful.
Early bird.
Oh yeah, our early bird ends February 22nd. 23rd?
Sounds good.
Okay, the early bird is ending, so right now it's only 60. After early bird,
65.
it goes up to 65, and that is, February 23rd, so then it goes up to 65 a person. We do assign seating, but if you want to sit by a group of people, just let us know. We'll put you all at the same table. And then there's our silent auction that we do there too. So come with the credit card so that you can bid on all of our awesome silent auction stuff. The toffee is mine now. And then we also have raffle tickets hot off the press. So if you can't come but you want to buy raffle tickets, And for any of the organizations that are getting grants, we need for you guys to take tickets so that you can sell tickets as well. So,
What is the raffle?
this raffle is a night on the town from Kenosha Women's Network. We donate that. Kenosha Restaurant gift certificates is donated from AAUW. And then Kenosha Tempo is doing a Lakeshore Pedal Tour gift certificate. So it's right on the raffle tickets what our prizes are.
And all those prizes are $300 and valued at $300. And so those are the 3 raffle prizes and then the silent auction.
Wendy, how much are the raffle tickets?
The raffle tickets are $3 each or 3 for $10. Might as well buy 3 or more. 6, 12.
3 for $10, that's $9.
What?
3 for $10 would be $9.
Yeah. Well, I know, but $5 each.
Oh, 5, you said $3 each.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. $5 each or
Or
3 for 10.
Okay.
Did I say $3? Okay. $5 each or 3 for 10. I'm like, I just 3. All right.
I would have never thought.